We'll start at the top. Michigan, 10.5 is their line, 10.5 wins for the regular season. Last year, 13-1, obviously going all the way to the playoff for the second year in a row. Jim Harbaugh has turned things around very nicely there. They bring back J.J. McCarthy, their quarterback, one of the best running back duos in the country, if not the best, in Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. What do you know? They got a good offensive line again. Their defense looks like it's going to be really good again. Solid receivers and tight ends, maybe not amazing, but solid. I kind of did the overall general thing. Like, if you want to go more specific on anything, what did you want to talk about with this Michigan team for this year?
I think in the trenches, which you've noted, I think so they've won the Joe Moore Award the last 2 years, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And I believe they're the favorite to win it again this year. I think like PFF put out something. They had them as the number one offensive line headed into this year. I know that's we don't know anything yet, but they're projected to be just what they were, the last 2 years, which is really, really good, the best in college football. So that's what you're looking for. Just the consistency. I also think the consistency at quarterback. When was the last time that Michigan returned a quarterback that they were really excited about? And was like Ohio State's not, Penn State is not. Michigan gets and not really just with the Big Ten, but like all of the power, like the top teams, Michigan's returning a starter, and that has to feel pretty good. Like you're not, what you have there, and you feel good about it. So he definitely showed a lot of promise last year. He looks to improve, possibly, like with a little bit of experience. I think that's really big. Yeah, because they're going to run the ball well. Like they're always going to have good backs, and they're going to be able to run the ball well. But like I think the quarterback play, some consistency at quarterback play. We know, like, because that was the whole thing, right, between McCarthy and McNamara, was that McCarthy had the higher ceiling. Like that's what we were expecting to see. We expected him to be able to win a shootout. Turns out they lost the shootout to TCU. Like that was like, but that's what we wanted to see from McCarthy, and we did. So you have to feel good. This isn't a secret for me. I'm on Michigan this year. Yeah, I'm going over at 10.5. Yeah, I think 12-0 is more likely than 10-2. I think that they could actually go through this conference. They get Ohio State at home this year. I think that's big. Penn State is on the road. That's tricky. That one for me would be their most likely loss. I know that could sound a little crazy. I think Penn State is their most likely loss, but it's the number's 10.5. You can lose that game and still be just dandy. So yeah, no, I like that. I'm going to go ahead and take the over for Michigan. Would put a couple of bucks on it. I feel pretty confident about this one.
Yeah, you kind of dug into quarterback a little bit there. I'll mention some names on their defense that I like or am hearing good things about, at least. Chris Jenkins is a defensive tackle. I believe is the son of the Chris Jenkins who played for like the Jaguars and in the NFL for a long time and was like awesome. They're really excited about him. They think he's their next great defensive lineman. Really good linebackers. Will Johnson is a corner they feel really good about. The other corner spot is less settled, but there's lots of names to choose from. Like somebody should rise and play well after losing some guys last year who were really good. Their defense, like, man, you have to tip your cap to the way they've developed because the recruiting hasn't been off the charts. True. But it seems like they've developed everybody that's come in there, and they've done a really good job of kind of maximizing the talent that they do have and turning it into, well, yeah, I mean, you kind of know what you're getting from them as far as the defense, the offensive line, and now quarterback. Like, to me, it feels like the way that Michigan goes from really good to elite national title contender is J.J. McCarthy becomes a legitimate top 10 quarterback in the country, which is on the table for sure. But yeah, go ahead.
I think like being able to retain so much, like Michigan has so much coming back, not just with the players, but coaching staff as well. You see a lot of everyone else was trying to replace coordinators and yeah, I think like Alabama replaced both coordinators. There was a lot of change up, and I think Michigan, they got to return so much production from last year. I think the experience is key for them. And also, if we can just touch on it real quick, the schedule is easy. Like this is they have
That's a nice way to say it.
It's a pillow soft schedule. It is. It's not very difficult. The teams from the West, like they don't have to play Wisconsin, who we think could be like possibly pretty good. They don't play Iowa this year either. And I know maybe that's just like, they'd be favored over either one of those teams, probably by 2 touchdowns. But those can be tricky games, especially if you catch them on the road. And Michigan doesn't have that. They don't really have that huge trap game there. I don't think at Nebraska is a trap game for them. So
Right.
yeah, it feels like they have a really easy. I mean, they have an easy schedule. And it's going to come down to those 2 big games against Penn State and against Ohio State. And yeah, I think they get at least one, if not both.
Yeah, if it wasn't for like, I guess the rivalry aspect of playing Michigan State, like you
Fair.
wouldn't
You're
even
right.
like Michigan will be a huge favorite, and rightly so, against Michigan State. I expect them to spank them, quite frankly, this year. Their last 3 games at Penn State, at Maryland, and then Ohio State. Like Maryland's the 3rd toughest game on their schedule, and they should very clearly beat Maryland.
Right.
Comes down to those 2 games, Penn State, Ohio State. I think they get one of those at least. Yeah, I'm definitely joining on the over just because that schedule, not just because of the schedule. They do have a really good team this year. The schedule makes it easy. The schedule makes it clear you have to take the over, even at 10.5, which is a very good high number. Yeah.